right. Hello, good evening. Welcome to this week's shir, Likutey Moharan, Pashas Pinchas. So, Rav Nosson basically reviews the Torah and explains it. So we will go through his explanation instead of reviewing the Torah. Maybe we'll do that as well. We'll see. So Rav Nosson says as follows: this issue that we are learning, we are discussing, is profound to the point of being unfathomable. As it is, as anybody who has eyes or understands what's going on can see. As Rabbeinu Kodesh, hinted to Rav Nosson, Godel Amkus Asod, the great profundity of this awesome mystery. Shemagia lemala lemala. It's something that it is like a route that circumvents all the usual ways of ascension and goes all the way up. As it is, as it is explained in the Torah to anybody who learns it. And it is, we have to explain this matter a little bit. And this is what he's explaining. The level of the Keser, which we know is the highest sphere at any realm. Its role is to hold back and put law and order in one's intellect. Any kind of wisdom which is unbridled and and doesn't have any boundaries can be very exciting, but it does not have Yishuv Hadas. It is not practical. We're talking about the ability in the mind, in the intelligence of a person, to settle and to put order, in your brain, in your mind. So that your mind will not break away and come out of its boundaries, and you end up with nothing in your hands. This ability to hold back and therefore settle everything down, whatever it is that settle it down and put an order to it, is the Keser. And this particular ability, this force, this is the screen that screens your mental faculties from the infinite light. Because that particular koyach, that is settling and putting order to things, is holding back the moichin, when they are rushing and chasing. So they don't go beyond their capacity towards the Kodesh Baruch Hu and break the vessels, break their own faculties. Because a person's intelligence, they are forever striving, to grasp the infinite light. And this particular ability of the Seichel, it stands before them like a hurdle, like a wall. And it keeps them back from their gushing. You can look at it as a dam in low countries, in Holland or whatever it is, it holds off the sea, doesn't let the sea go over. Now, the interrelation between the surging mental aspiration and that force that holds it back. Hainu, in other words, the redifa shamoichin rodfin lasiga einsuf, that rush, that your intelligence rushes to grasp and to partake in the infinite light. And that holding force, through these two aspects, the one that rushes forwards and the one that holds it back. What happens is that the moichin, they bang against that wall. It's not just that it peacefully, quote unquote, holds them back. They bang against it. That banging, the only way to put it is it causes the wall to bulge, where that rush to get the light of infinity, and it hits the wall of the Keser, it creates a bulge. Okay, that particular bulge, the wall was straight. Now there's a bulge like this. This is a faculty to receive. I mean, it's not something that was available before. It enables the light or Ein Sof to fill that particular light. On one hand, it's within the walls, it's within the boundaries. But on the other hand, it belongs somewhat to the other side already. That enthusiasm created a vacuum, as it were, that pulls in from Or Ein Sof and puts it within your reach, as it were. But it's a kind of reaching that you reach and you don't reach. You get it and you don't get it. You get it because it's inside the bulge, inside the Keser. It's inside that hurdle, the wall. But it's a bulge that bulges towards infinity, towards Or Ein Sof. So the light that it includes is an infinite light. So you can get it because it's inside, it's in your side of the fence, but you can't really get what it is because it's the light of the beyond. It's a very, very profound and difficult to understand concept. And that creates faculties to the infinite light. In other words, it creates vessels and holds and faculties in supernal spirituality. In order to get them, it enables you to get and not to get. The Ora Ein Sof Baruch Hu. You get something of the light of infinity. You don't really get it, but you get a taste of it, as it were. Because if that hurdle, that wall wasn't there at all, and there wouldn't be any factor to hold back, the storming of the surging of the intelligence to grasp that which is beyond it, then the mental faculties will disappear completely. A person would stop to existing altogether. It's like when you're taking a candle, and a candle, is a burning candle, then the flame is holding on to a wick. But what happens if you put the candle very close to a big flame? You'll notice that this flame of the candle jumps into the big flame and disappears in it. Because the light of infinity, it's not possible to perceive. But through these two contrasting faculties or factors, that is the surge and the holding back, that creates this brand new boundaries, walls, faculties to get that which was known before. You're getting something which is from the beyond, the light that has no end. You are able to create, with your enthusiasm, banging against the wall of the Kesser, you are able to get a glimpse, a taste of a life, of a light, of a wisdom, of an intelligence that is beyond reach. But you can only get it like you get it and you don't get it. And what getting and not getting it is people know, people don't mevinim. In other words, you reach it and you don't reach it. That you're chasing, you're surging, and you reach an understanding, a comprehension, and you still don't get there, and you still don't comprehend. This is the result of these two contrasting factors, or the interaction between them. Even though these faculties, brand new faculties, have been banged in the Kesser, they're already like going into the area of the beyond. Still, whatever wisdom fills those new faculties is the kind of light that is unknown and not and not possible to be known. And then nobody can ever reach them. These are the words of the Zohar Kodesh. V'lo misdabkin, and nobody can connect with them. V'lo yadin, nobody can know them. They're unknowable. It is not possible to formulate, to form in your mind these faculties. This is beyond the nefesh, ruach, and neshama. The one thing that we have to understand that is very evident from what Reb Nosson here is a very profound understanding of something that we usually don't think of. And that is, we look at the nefesh as the power that, as the force that powers our corporeal body. And then we have the ruach as the thing that moves us. That's the thing that moves our spiritual existence, our creativity, whatever it is that you want to call it. We're looking at the neshama, the soul. The soul is our essence. So each one of these levels, even more so beyond that, the chaya and yechida, these are all, the essence of who we are and what we are. So, l'maisa, what we're seeing is we're seeing the body. That is the ultimate tool. And there is one force that activates it. There's another force that moves it, that inspires it, that makes it feel, and so forth. And there's another force that connects it with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, which is the neshama. Then there's another force above that, and another force above that was the Chai and the Yechida. So we look at it as our true essence. But the one thing that we forget is the same way that the body is the horse for the nefesh is the rider. So is the nefesh the horse to the ruach that rides it. And so is the ruach the horse to the neshama that rides it. And so is the neshama to the chai that rides it. And so is the yechida, and the chai to the yechida that rides it. All these things which we are saying, this is who we are. There's no higher. There's no one higher. There's no higher where. There's nowhere else to go higher than that. These are also kalim to contain the infinite light. Every single one of these forces. You have the body, you have the nefesh, you have the ruach, you have the neshama. Each one of them is a vessel to the light that comes above it. The body is the vessel for the nefesh. The nefesh and the body are the vessel for the ruach. And the ruach, nefesh, and the body are the vessels for the neshama. And so forth and so on. And any light which is above these vessels, above the ruach, nefesh, ruach, neshama, we don't have any way to put boundaries around them and so forth we can grasp. The way that we understand is by defining things. Defining means putting walls around it, putting a definition. Definition means it ends here, it ends here, it ends here, it ends here. Okay, we get it. This is what it is. If it's open-ended, we cannot grasp it. We can feel it, we can believe in it, but but we cannot grasp it in our minds. with our intelligence. And it says, and these are lemala mekol hasichos. This is above all intelligence. Lemala maspheres. It's beyond the spheres. It's an area that even the spheres do not exist. As it says as Rabbeinu explains it, if you reread the Torah and say that I haven't added anything at all. Because where everything the Rebbe said, this is what I'm saying. But I repeated and explained these things a little bit. The Godel oitzem kusam adin sof, to the profundity of these things that which reaches infinity. This is why the faculties are dafka 9. Because any kind of human intelligence divided into 3, being that they surge and they bang against the screen that holds them back, and they become combined into one another. Each one becomes combined, becomes a fractal principle, whereas each one is contains these 3 bechinas. And 3 times 3. In other words, the chokhmah gains chokhmah bin hadas, the bina has chokhmah bin hadas, and the das has chokhmah bin hadas. So you have 3 and 3 and 3 altogether. This is 9. Asher mish iske leilech v'lalos b'derech hakodesh alav b'Torah azois ad shezke lasogas elu. How fortunate is he who is able to escalate in this holy road that this Torah describes until he'll be zoicha to these hasagas. So now we're going to explain how the question of the sages of Athens, as asked Rabbi Yeshua ben Hanania, and in the answer that he gave them. Because when you took a look at what they asked him, it looked like, almost like a child's game. But when Rabbeinu explains what he explained, now we can look back at that interaction between Saba de Beatuna and Rabbi Hanan and see what's going on. This is what the sages of Athens asked Rabbi Shlomo Hanania, where is the middle of the world? Zakfo etzba'o. So he held up his fingers. Omer Achai told him, here is the middle of the world. Amru l'miyayma, says who? That's what I told him. Amalu asay asli boshku. Bring ropes and measure, you'll find out. So what actually really is going on there, what they actually asked him, how can you grasp, how can you get the infinite light? These are the Greek philosophers that want to achieve, want to get the infinite light. It's the middle of the world. We know everything is the many ways of looking how this, but everything is, the middle is the Ein Sof, and the Kalim are the things that surround it. That is the live wire from which all the bechinos get chayas, life force, and bounty. It's the olam. That's why it's called emtza olam. It's the middle of the world. It's the inner life force of all elements. Zakfo etzba'oso. He held up his finger. Ze b'chinas brachas. This is the brachas because of the brachas come from the hands. B'chinas, as it says, v'yisa Aaron es yado mibachim. Aaron lifted up his hand, which is the Birkas Kahanim, and he gave him the brachas. So we see the brachas, as we said before, the brachas come from the aspect of hands, which is chesed, gvura, tiferet. Hainu, his kavona was to tell them, shel dea brachas, it is through the brachas, through the bounty that comes from the yadayim, a person is zoiche to a seichel anoichin. And then the seichel surges to go and surge to grasp the infinite light. And then the moichin, the intelligence, bangs against the boundary, the keser, that holds the seichel back and forces it to settle and to get itself ordered. And it creates these kind of supernal faculties to a light that is beyond all faculties, that escapes all faculties, that escapes any kind of conflict. It's ineffable, it's totally unified, undivided. And then he's therefore zecher to get that light, but in a way of getting it and not getting it. Omrulei, so they answer, mi yemer, says who? In other words, but they said to him, mi hu zeh shikones bechala atmuros, koma klipois, lahad shama pedusha b'vchinas k'teres. We start, he says, how do you start the whole thing? He says, when you do the mitzvahs b'simcha, you get the malchus out of the realm of the kilipot, of the tumah, of the defilement. So the realm of the kilipot is the realm where they cheat you. A person meets you in New York City. He said, listen, I come from Chicago and I lost, somebody, I was mugged or I lost my wallet and I don't have anything. And I can't even go to the police. They took all my identity cards and everything else. I need to get home. I don't have anything except my wedding band, and I have to sell it. It is a gold band, and I'll sell it to you. I'll sell it to you, for $30-$40. It's worth it at least, $100. It's a gold band. I think 18-karat gold band. As you can help me. And a person that buys it, very quickly discovers that it's not even worth $5. In other words, it shows you not everything that shines is gold. These are the faculties of the switcheroos, where they switch things that look brilliant for things that really are brilliant. So the realm of the klipot is called the chale, the faculties of the tmurs, of the exchanges. In Rabbeinu's stories, we see many times the exchanges, the exchanged children. The Nachash is the first one that exchanged to Chava, the good and the bad is good. It portrays the good as bad and the bad is good. So they asked him, how can anybody go down to the klipot, the realm of the klipot, the realm of tumah, the realm of defilement, in order to get the kedusha out? Who can go there? As the Ketores does it. So it's a brachas canal, that when you bring this up, that eventually results in the brachas coming down. The malchus will come out of the klipot, and it will go awaken all the olam HaSisera Kodesh Baruch Hu, and that'll bring brachas to all the elements. Himself, at the end of the process, a person can get to the infinite light. Mati velo mati. These are the words that they said, Mi Yemar, who says who. Yemar is also shown Tmura. Tmura is exchange. Exchanging is called a hamir. When you go to change places, to change dollars for shekels, what do you call it? You call the hamir. The hamir matbea, you exchange. This is an exchange. The exchange is called Tmura, the hamir. This is what it calls. So this is when you exchange a good. The klippers, they keep on exchanging to a person the good with bad and the bad with good. That's why they're called the faculties of exchanges. And he answered to them, bring ropes and measure. There's no reason to get down to the realm of the klipot, to get the kedusha out. The main elevation of the kedusha that starts the entire process of this simcha. This is achieved by being happy. It's not achieved by you going down and taking it up. The Shechina is the shirt of the simcha of Israel. The klipos represents all the atzvus, all the depression, all the sadness. And the kedusha of Shechina is intrinsic in when you're doing the mitzvahs. When you're doing the mitzvahs b'simcha, the klipos gets disappear all their own automatically, and the Shechina automatically is elevated from the klipos. You don't have to go down there. In the future, when Am Yisrael will come out of the Golus with great simcha, because how will you get out of Golus? B'simcha. Simcha is the thing that is going to get you out of Golus. Then the klipos will be totally eradicated. So Aisu Ashli, bring ropes. Hainu, he told them, Al yedechem val kochachem, through you and despite you, is Baltla klipos. The klipos are going to be eradicated by you, despite what you want to do. Because you, the goyim, they just want to put everybody into use, everybody into despair. You yourself will bring Am Yisrael from the Golus. And Ashli, it's called a chevel. It's called a rope. Hainu chevel nachalosai. The Am Yisrael is called chevel nachalosai. They're called the rope. Am Yisrael is the rope of the HaKadosh Baruch Hu owns. And in other words, the Goyim will bring your brothers Beis Yisrael. It's not about the Goyim. Each and every one of the Goyim, they will bring with their own hands the Beis Yisrael from the Golus. Even those that are very, very far, that they're already lost inside the Goyim themselves are going to bring them back. They are ribuya simcha, because of this tremendous simcha that will exist at that time. Sheba says, then the Goyim are going to say, Higdil Hashem Nasos Ineilan. Hayinu Semechim. Kadosh Baruch Hu did tremendous chasodim with Eila, with Am Yisrael. Hayinu Semechim. Even they will feel the simcha. Am Yisrael will have an unbelievable simcha. But their simcha is batla klipos. It is through that simcha that the klipos will become eradicated. That David HaMelech has put down the people of Moab on the ground, and measure them with two ropes to kill them, because he sent his family to become, for safe haven in Moav, and Moav murdered his family. David the Melech became a Melech. He came to Moav and paid them, what was coming to them. And the way it says this, he put two ropes down to measure them and kill them. And those were those that he killed. And the two chavolim to kill, and one chevel, to rope, to keep alive, to be slaves to him. So you see that measuring in a chevel, measuring in a rope, is a euphemism for killing. Also in English, we know, give a person enough rope to hang himself, as it were. And the Zohar says that the real reason why Moav was actually punished like that is because of last week's parsha. The daughters of Moab are those who enticed the people of Am Yisrael, for znus and to serve the idols. So the people in Midian, they were punished right away. But the people of Moab were not punished right away. Why not? Because from Moab, Ruth was supposed to come. She is the grandmother of David HaMelech, so they had to keep on existing until the days of David HaMelech that came out of Ruth, and he is the one who was going to punish them for what they did to Am Yisrael in the desert in the Mizrah. V'zeh moshchu, in other words, measure. This is the measuring to eradicate the klippos. The same way that in the future, the klippos will be completely eradicated through the abundance of simcha, then Am Yisrael will get out of the galus b'gashmius pashut. They will come out of themselves. They will come out from the goyim. Same thing now. When you're doing the mitzvahs b'simcha, the kedusha comes out of the galus of the faculties of exchanges all its own. The klippos themselves have to expectorate and to bring the kedusha and put it back to its place, all the sparks of kedusha is between them, and then they are eradicated and become extinct through the simcha. So the Papara says, Kota Alochis, to explain in a different manner. It says it's difficult because the entire Rabbeinu says is that his essence that La'osid Lova in the future will come out of Golos, Godel Simcha. The Simcha will be so tremendous, the klippos will be eradicated. So that makes it difficult to understand, because we still don't understand what are we going to do now with ourselves in the depths of our exile, each one where he finds himself. That's the main axis, that's the main goals. How are we zoiche to make ourselves with simcha? Now, the future, fine, we understand, but what are we going to do now? To make ourselves happy, so we can get each out of his own exile. It's the atzvus that overcomes the Jewish nefesh every single day. And the main thing is, Rabbeinu says, when the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants to save a Jew, he brings a mashgocha from the end of time. Same thing here. Likutey Moharan says, in the end of time, Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to get us out of the golos, which means that this inyan, this is how every single Jew can get himself out of his own personal goals right now, by doing the mitzvahs of the simcha. The galus in itself is the atzvus, is the sadness, is depression. We look at sadness and depression as something that it's a state, that one is in because of circumstantial, of reasons, right? I mean, you have a reason to be upset, a reason to be sad, but it's not so. It's something which is totally up to you. You can decide whether you want to be there or not. He says the way to get yourself besimcha is to understand that sof kol sof, at the end of all ends, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will save Klal Yisrael. Bevada, in each and every person. Each and every person, specifically. And with this, you can make yourself a simcha now also. And get out of your golos in the cholat muris and refine, extricate the kedusha from there. We are all destined to be delivered. We will all be delivered, no matter what. All our children, those that turned out the way we hoped, and those that didn't turn out the way we hoped, they all have a deliverance that is waiting for them. We are, in a sense, as they said, anything that is supposed to be eradicated, it's as if it's already eradicated. That's halacha, just to say that a lulav that was used for Avodah Zarah, you cannot make a bracha on it because it's as if it's not there. Because Zarah has to be burnt. So it looks like it doesn't have a shear, doesn't have it's not big enough, doesn't have any size. Because since the halacha is that Avodah Zarah has to be destroyed, so even now you have a lulav in your hand, but you don't have a lulav. It's supposed to be destroyed. It's as if it is destroyed. The same thing applies to the other way around. Everything that is destined to be saved and delivered is already saved and delivered. We're going through whatever we're going through. But everything that we do, every single good will, every single good volition, every single good urge, even if you're not zeicher to do anything, you just hope that you could, is a treasure forever. Baruch Hashem, especially with Rabbeinu HaKadosh, we already are delivered. As Rav Nosson said, my Mashiach has already come. Ad kan Torah Chavdalet, Likutey Moharan, one unbelievably profound Torah. We have finished it today. You can make some kind of a Suda or whatever it is you want on the Siyum of Torah Chavdalet, tremendous Torah. Mitzvah Hashem, next week we will start Torah Chafhei, which is what they call the timely Torah that the entire Breslov is learning at this point in time. Mitzvah Hashem, I'll see you all tomorrow night in the Breslov Besmedrash as we will continue learning Torah Memtes.